Hello, my dear friends. Welcome once again to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Battelli, a internationally renowned brand name for men's suit that represents culture, tradition, fashion, and even art. Right. So, Paul, thank you for sponsoring, and let's get back to the show. Today with me is the series. One of the series of the Donald Trump 100-day plan, our comment and respond. With me today is my good friend, Mr. Ken Hamming, a wonderful political commentator. Plus, he's a good friend of my lifetime, and he's a philosopher. And by the way, he's a writer himself, and he does do writing with the spiritual or
personal lifestyle,
conceptual area,
right? How to live life,
lifestyle, or how to live life. Okay, very good. It's called like chicken soups.
It's chicken soup of life. That's exactly right, Jack. Thank you.
Chicken soup of life.
And you know how happy I am to be with you and your viewers, who I love so much.
So welcome, Ken, to the show.
Thank you. My honor.
Okay, good. Last time we stopped by this page, commenting on Donald Trump, President-elect, his 100-day plan, and we were at the area talking about the Keystone pipelines,
right?
All right, and which he's so promoting, and we are talking about the UN payment.
Yes.
That we, according to him, we need to draw back that payment or reduce to use the money for our infrastructures.
Yeah, America basically globally gets abused quite a bit because we have a lot of money, and they want us and expect us to give everybody a lot of the money. And Mr. Trump's more focused right now on making us stronger economically and militarily now. And the mood of America has totally changed since the election. And I see smiles that I never saw before.
To be more precise, though, we used to have a lot of money.
Yes, that's
right.
right.
No longer, right?
That's right.
Now we really have to stretch our dollars into more than one to see what we can do.
That's correct.
On the other hand, those commitments either to NATO or even to UN were made at a time when we were better off, when we had a lot of money.
Right.
Now that we're no longer that rich, we really have to reshape ourselves.
That's right.
We have really to reshape those commitments, right? Not saying overturning the commitment, we're saying that we have to watch ourselves first.
You know, just like you take care of your own finances and myself mine, if I get a little bit too much debt going or something, I have to adjust my lifestyle. America has to adjust its spending style. And particularly one thing, there's so much, in my opinion, inefficiency in government that we've got to take efficiency as a measure back into the leadership in our different departments of government.
However, humans are rapacious, right?
Okay.
And sometimes they grow into some habit.
Oh,
I have a story. I have a story for you. A guy has a next door neighbor who is who is very poor. So on a day-to-day basis, the guy gave him, for example, $10.
Yes, sir.
Right? In the very beginning, the poor guy, was very appreciative for the $10. That helps a lot. And then when it goes into a tradition, every single day, he gets a single $10 support, okay, until one day he gets $5.
Right.
Right. And the guy was questioned,
Right.
Why you give me $5 instead of 10?
Right.
A guy says, I'm very sorry. I'm married.
Yeah.
I got married. I got a family to support.
Right.
And you know what? He gets a slam on the face. You're using my money for women, huh? Like that.
Then I'd be slapped in the face a lot. Okay.
So using that, I'm a little concerned about stuff at the UN.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. To my audience, I'm not exaggerating. We can almost tell those people, I'm not saying they're bad people, they're good people like we are. They get into it,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
They form a habit of it.
That's right.
Okay. Now we draw our money, we draw our payment, we shrink our payment to the support of UN, United Nations, there could be some slam on the face.
And I'm very happy to use my face to slam, because we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves.
Right. Is it bigger because you have a bigger face or what?
I love it.
Yeah.
But we have to do that. And I'm not a fan of the UN. For example, on their Human Rights Council, they have some of the worst dictatorship countries represented on there. And America is not even on there. So it's just it's insane. I'd like it to leave New York. We pay for a huge amount of the budget for that, and put it in Paris or put it someplace.
Anyway, if Donald Trump is willing to try it that way, I personally think that probably we should let him try.
He is not easily intimidated. In fact, I don't think he can be intimidated. And that's what, say, a lot of the radicals are trying to intimidate him, and in the media trying to intimidate. He's not intimidatable. Just like me, he's not offendable.
And exactly, that's why we named this show the series of Donald Trump's 100-day plan as Let's Get Serious.
Yeah,
right?
About America.
So, yeah, about America. Let's get serious. Let's see what Donald Trump can do one by one, right?
Yeah.
So we wish him good luck. We see, I can foresee there's going to be some obstacles.
Oh, there'll be a lot. It'll be a very tough battle, but the people, Donald Trump has the people behind him, not the media, not the elite establishment on the Democratic Republican side, but he's got the people. He's got us.
I know. As taxpayers,
and as taxpayers,
we do not want our money to be squandered for just a bigger name.
And it has been.
It has been.
Very seriously has
Just
been.
has a little smile or something on somebody's face.
Cut foreign aid, increase our military strength for safety and jobs. He's all about jobs.
And he talks about that one by one. And he says here, in addition to all above, on the first day, I will take the following 5 actions to restore security and the constitutional rule of law.
The rule of law is what we need, and it's been, I guess, just ignored by the current administration for a long time. For example, and the best example is Sanctuary City. They refuse to follow the law. There should be punishment for that. There should be consequences for consciously refusing to obey the laws of our country.
For that, I really plan to touch in depth later. Later, even not today, later.
Yes, sir.
But now we may still talk about it, hang over a little bit.
Yeah.
You're talking about the harbor, the sanctuary cities, and of course there are lots of comment, lots of criticism about it, and yet there are supporters. For example, LA, city of LA, right? Not only the chief of police, but Mayor Garcetti said clearly, even not just openly, and said at the news release conference, say, we are a sanctuary city. We want to remain a sanctuary city, all right? And on the other hand, as for cutting off the federal support, though, and he says, I believe he does say something for legit. He says, that's taxpayers' money.
That's right.
And taxpayers' money comes back. That's one of the ways for taxpayers come back to the city. And you're not cutting off like that. So there's going to be something in conflicts. Do you think so?
Well, there will. In way back in the days of integration, when we were integrating in Governor Faubus in Arkansas, Lyndon Johnson had tanks and troops in there to make sure it happened. We might have to do something to enforce the law, because if a city refuses to enforce it, and it needs to be enforced, which it does, it's a law, then there will be outside influences to enforce it. And Pasadena has declared itself to be a sanctuary city, and I'm ashamed to live in Pasadena right now because
Anyway,
I respect the law.
Okay. So when it says to the level of the rules of law, though, you're talking about the rules of laws in between the federal laws and the local laws. Am I
Federal
right?
laws have more power.
Of course, neither of them goes to the constitutional level. Am I right? So underneath, there's really always contradictions between the federal law and the state law, the state law and the local city laws.
Well, the constitutional history of evolving law says America does have the right to refuse entry to immigrants that do not enhance our country. And that's just been, now with illegal immigration going crazy, it's been ignored and poorly enforced by the administration.
Can we say this for safe?
Yes, sir.
That both the respond on this sanctuary city versus the sanctuary city position versus the federal money issue, the voices, the vocals are equally strong at this moment.
You know, I don't think they're equally strong in integrity and ethics. The left is very loud. So I think there's the left is very loud. Now in California, they're trying to put a ballot measure out to try to get California to secede from the United States of America. They want to be their own country.
Right.
Well, it's not going to happen.
Issue,
that's another issue. It's not going to happen.
That I'm not
supporting. That's how this state is. This state is the most liberal, un-American state that we have in the country.
I just want to predict a little bit, to look further a little bit. Say once Donald Trump is in office and trying to put together what his move called about to give punishment or whatever consequences to the sanctuary city position. And then I believe the voices are so strong on the left-hand side, well, there's going to be a big conflict going on for quite some time.
Yeah, for Chicago and for San Francisco, those would be the first two
San
targets.
Francisco is in particular.
I won't even go to the city anymore. I used to go there all the time.
Oh, okay.
It's dangerous, and it's pretty, and it's romantic, but psychologically, I don't belong there.
Okay. Anyway, we are safe that we say the future of this issue looks very complicating, and we are not sure yet what will come out as a result, right?
Correct.
Okay, very good. Let's move on, my dear friend. And he says, first, he will cancel every unconstitutional executive action, memorandum, and order issued by President Obama. He would cancel not some, but every. Of
those that are truly deemed in agreement to be unconstitutional. President Obama has ignored the Constitution, does not admire the Constitution, and does not enforce it. And so he'll do anything to avoid it. And so, but now where it gets tricky, and this you need lawyers, constitutional lawyers, is this executive order constitutional or not? We need an up or down, a thumb up or down. And also the Congress and in the Senate, I am ashamed of them that have not stood up to Obama's enforcing unconstitutional actions. They have not manned up to resisting checks and balances.
Let's be fair.
Okay, I like
with
that.
Both Donald Trump, President-elect, and President Obama, who has been there sustained for 2 terms, right?
Right.
Let's be fair to both of them, right?
Now, I am
when
intellectually.
Donald Trump chose to say that I will overturn every executive action,
if it's unconstitutional,
memorandum, and executive orders.
Only if they're unconstitutional.
Okay. And he says, take the...
and he should. Nobody should let unconstitutional dictates continue to breathe.
I know.
Yeah.
For a slogan, that's right. For a slogan,
right.
For a concept, that's right. as for his work plan of the 100 days,
Yes, sir.
putting up something so blur in range, right? Like a shotgun, boom, like that.
It's very specific.
I don't think it's specific. I don't think that's.
I think it is because it has to
no.
be deemed to be unconstitutional, and he has the right. He doesn't need Congress to do that.
I'm not saying his move is wrong.
Right.
I'm saying that his stratagem is wrong because he doesn't want to include this one into his 100-day plan. Once you call it a 100-day plan, you must be specific. For example, his executive order for the Dreamer action,
Right.
means the delay of deportation thing,
Right.
right? And I will overturn that. Okay.
If that executive order is unconstitutional, it should be overturned. It should.
He can say that.
Yeah.
But for him to say something general like this, I'm talking about this very text that's from his mouth, that he says he canceled every unconstitutional executive action. That's kind of a too wide a range.
Well, there's too many to list in this speech that he did. Now, on the first day, he will start doing that. I mean, there will be a stack this high of executive orders that he will unwind.
Okay. I'm not giving comment on how he does his job.
Right, right.
I'm only saying that for him to include that kind of move into his 100-day plan is not by logic. It is not right because it is not a plan. It's just a concept.
I think they're planning it every hour of every day right now. We'll see.
Okay.
But see, the key here with Trump right now is he's got these promises out there, and the people, the stock market's almost up to 20,000. Everybody's happy.
That's good. Yeah.
He has to come through and follow through on his promises.
Okay, very good.
And if he does that, America will be a better place.
Between you and I, we want to let the differences remain.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. My dear audience, with me is my good friend Ken Hamming, a political commentator who I argue with all the time. Yet I love him a lot. He is always a backbone to the community. And let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue seeing what's in his bucket. All right, so stay with us, please. Hello, my dear audience, lovely ladies and gentlemen, fellow Californians or fellow Americans. Welcome back to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Batali, a name brand that is internationally renowned. That's where it represents culture, tradition, and even technology. Okay, Paul, thank you for sponsoring. Get back to the show. With me today is my good friend Ken Hamming, a famous political commentator, and to my eye, he's kind of like a godfather figure, and kind of figure. He's a writer himself. He writes a lot of chicken soup.
I do. That's right.
Well, anyway, we are in the fifth episode of the whole series of the comment on 100-day plan for Donald Trump made by himself. And we were at a point talking about his overturning part, right? He says that he will overturn every executive action, memorandum, presidential order that is unconstitutional once he gets into position within 100 days. Okay, now let's move on. Secondly, he says he will begin the process of selecting a replacement for Justice Scalia.
Yes.
And from the 20 justice list that he has on hand, who will uphold and defend the Constitution for the United States.
Yes, sir.
I recall last time we did discuss a little bit about that part. Only we were approaching to the end. We did it in a hurry, right? Let's still meander on this one quite a bit because we really, I believe, that's even a bigger issue than anything.
This is the number one issue, and many people voted for Mr. Trump with his commitment to having a constitutional scholar who performs his duties on the Supreme Court in accordance with how it was conceived of by our founding fathers. And the Constitution, the Supreme Court was never guided to be activists and redefine the Constitution. The activists that some people are on the court now that are dramatically opposed to the form of living as guided by our Constitution 200 years ago, want to change America. And I believe it's the rock of America is the Constitution. And I sleep better every night knowing that. And there might be another person besides this replacement. There might be two, and if they're the right people on there, then it can save generations of believing in our Constitution.
And also
again.
consider the fact that during the coming years, some of them, at least 3 of them, will get older.
They're older.
Right?
We
Of
have
course,
some
it's
senior citizens out there.
it's a lifetime position.
It's a lifetime position.
Yet, which is a fact. For example, Justice Scalia never knew that he was going to die, right?
No.
And then he did die, right?
One day,
like
boom.
one day, boom,
Bye-bye.
like that. So things will happen and happen fast. So we better get prepared for that. And for that, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Here's my reading. After all, at the end of the day, if you talk about American politics, you're talking about checks and balance,
Yes, sir.
right?
Right.
So you're talking about the tripod.
Right.
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 With one leg missing or with one leg not functioning 100%,
Yes.
it is a risk.
It's a big risk, and that's why some
What
of
is
the
risk?
that's
right?
why these executives.
What if there is a war issue going on, and the executive branch, right, and the
judicial and
judicial
executive.
and the legislative branch,
Right.
They kind of a tie.
Yeah.
Let's do or do not go to war.
Right.
And then it's the third that kicks in. Or if there is a decision, or they come in common, say, hey, let's go into war, and that decision has to be weighed by the third.
Yeah.
And then now you're meeting something 4 by 4. They say yes and no, half and half, and then.
But we've never
risk.
declared war anywhere without the president and the legislative branch.
I know.
Step,
The war declaration might be wrong, might be unconstitutional, and who's?
Oh no, it's constitutional.
Yeah, and whose job to say that?
It's the Congress. That's the president declares
And
war
the
with
Congress, if the Congress falls in the same pit,
Yeah.
same pit with the executive branch, though, and it is the judicial branch that points out, no, this is unconstitutional, like that.
Well,
kind of-
it's never come up in our history of the Supreme Court is really not involved in war decisions, but they're
All right, that's a better case. But anyway,
it's a better case.
I was just giving an example by picking up wrong example with the war thing.
Yeah.
For example, there's
a lot of other
same-sex marriage thing, for example.
Right.
Same-sex marriage thing, right?
Right.
If we had a different set of judges at the Supreme Court, though, we will not face what we're facing now.
See that again? Those came from executive actions of President Obama, and they didn't come through laws passed by Congress. So there'll be some. I don't know what's going to happen, but it'll be discussed heavily.
Okay, now take Obamacare, for example.
Yes, sir.
And the Supreme Court rule was that it was not unconstitutional, and that's why we have it now.
And we had a very disappointing.
And we never know. We never know.
The Chief Justice Roberts that created a new concept to squeeze it in for Obama,
And
he
we
was
never
supposed
know.
to be
We
conservative.
never
and he's
know
not.
until you are covered by Obamacare.
Right.
Take me myself, for example. I never know what Obamacare is until I'm in it. Right?
know.
Now I can
Stay
tell
out
you.
of it, yeah.
Now I can tell you in my summary. Obamacare covers everything except those things that needed to be covered.
I love you more every time you make a profound statement.
All right,
like
okay, now.
That's
It
very
covers
profound.
almost everything except those important things that needs to be covered.
And I think it's generally
That's
understood.
the problem.
Yeah, it's generally understood.
For example, everybody, when they go over the age of 50, they talk about their eyes,
Sure.
their teeth.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. Now, with their eyes or their teeth, there's nothing to talk about.
Really?
All right. And even the medicine with, say, for example, vitamins, supplement or stuff like that, which are necessary for bones or whatever.
Right, right.
And you're talking about $5, $10, $20, $40, $45 for the
the fee, right.
For the copay part.
No, see, that's really, because the copays are going
really
up
crazy.
high, and this is
And what you can do, you have your aspirin covered.
Yeah.
You have your amoxicillin covered, that kind of thing, right? So anyway, that's why I say it covers almost everything, but the important things need to be covered.
Yeah.
We need something new. I know that we need something new.
Really, a lot of Americans that are not doing well financially, and I love every one of them, and feel for every one of them, sometimes just have to go without their medicine because they can't afford the copay.
And it goes exactly wrong. For example, you have to be poor to join that. If you make some money, you have a job that makes some money, you disqualify yourself.
Yeah, and that's
what does it do to encourage people to work?
The whole concept, though, of Obamacare, Jack, which I think you'll agree with, was designed to fail. It is failing dramatically, then with the hope that the government would be the only source of insurance coverage. That was their desire, because it's a third of our economy, and then they would control the people of America
Like in my
more.
wife's case,
yes, sir.
She just come over.
Yes.
She just came over.
Congratulations.
Right? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And she, doesn't have a job yet.
Yeah.
All right. She has zero income, right? Now she exactly qualifies to get into Obamacare because she has no income. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably right.
Now she can't. She can't because she has a husband.
Yeah.
That earns enough money.
Right.
And then I have to buy a separate plan, from a commercial plan.
Yeah.
And she's denied from the whole Obamacare system.
Right, and also that when you have to buy, there's not enough competition in the insurance business now that will lower, and this will change, I hope and believe, will lower the premiums. When we can sell plans all around the country, not just in your own home state, things should be lightening up on the burden on people for better coverage.
This is crazy. It doesn't do the job it's supposed to do. It does something else. I don't know. That's wrong.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
that's why I find myself in support with the Donald Trump with his intention to overturn Obamacare. I don't like it. And by the way, I hate it.
It will happen.
And then he moves on. That says
third sanctuary.
The third, cancel all federal fundings for sanctuary cities.
I like it. I love it. I think
and that is exactly I said that we later on shall cover, because we do not see that will work. I do not see that will work. And there's going to be lots of conflict.
I think it will happen. Whether it works, I don't know. But of course, then people in the city sort of suffer from that. But then they need to elect different mayors and different city council people that don't lead them into this hole of despair. and that's what they're doing. Ignoring laws is not a right of a citizen. It is an obligation to follow the laws. And when you elect people that won't follow the law,
probably someday we shall have a lawyer here. Someday we shall
Oh.
have a civil law lawyer here to explain to us when contradictions are found in between federal laws and local laws.
See, but you cannot make a local law to not obey federal laws. You just can't do that. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, that's exactly my point.
I
My
know.
point is that obey, if obey is the word.
Yes, sir.
If anything there contains the element of obeying. So, and it sounds to me that this local law does not have to obey the federal law. So that is the problem. And it is illegal to say so.
You can't have a local law that directs you to not follow federal laws. That's
Well, anyway,
anarchy. That's
anyway,
anarchy.
okay, all right, anyway.
And the radical
Okay.
leftists are anarchists right now.
I know. But it is a practical. It is what's happening now.
Just keep the money away from them.
Give the money away from them. If they can do that, we wish. All right.
Yeah.
Right. My dear
It will
audience,
happen.
today with my good friend Ken Hamming, we're going one by one with a long list. That's altogether 9 pages, talking about Donald Trump's 100-day plan. We at G&E TV try every bit we can to bring you the information for you to make your own decision and for a way of to expect what's happening down the road. That's why we named the show Let's Get Serious. This is, by the way, the 5th episode with my good friend Ken Hamming. I'm having a good time. And let's take a moment out. When we come back, we'll pick up from his number 4. So stay with us, please.